In this episode, we're going to be discussing why our African diasporan or African immigrants are not able to hit the mark like the Indians do, particularly in the United States. And I know it's also the same in Europe. Why do we fall behind, particularly in the area of entrepreneurship, in the area of advancing in career, the top echelons of, the top levels of career? Why are we not able to hit that proverbial glass ceiling in numbers? That's what we're going to be discussing. And to help us do that, I have this information I stumbled upon. Actually, that's what caused me to start thinking about that, because when I was working in corporate UK and corporate in America, the thought about running a business, let's say a big global business, actually never even occurred to me. It's like, as scripture will say, I was looking at myself like, I would say we were like when who said was like grasshoppers in their eyes, right? When I think they sent the spies to go and spy, I think Aaron and I think in Joshua, the book of Joshua, those who know the Bible, where the 10 spies were sent into the land, the promised land, right? And then nine of them came back saying that, "Hey, we were like grasshoppers in the eyes. The guys were like giants." And Aaron and Moses, or actually Aaron, said, "Oh, we are well able to pursue this land. We're well able to defeat these people." So to me, when I was in these kind of corporate jobs, that's where my mind was. My mind was, hey, how do I survive here? How do I even get the experience? How do I even, learn one or two things here? I wasn't thinking about entrepreneurship per se, let alone thinking about running big business. But I think there's possibly a reason why. There's a reason why, and I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this because when I was working my last corporate gig in Dallas, Texas, there were a few Africans in the organizations that I worked for. A few, not more than three actually that I knew of. Yes, not more than three that I knew of. There could be more, but not more than that. But I don't think it crossed anybody's mind that they could be one day running such an organization in the diaspora. So, and this, I got thinking about this deeply as a result of seeing this publication from I think the Times of India. And it's like, wow. So they have this infographic report that I saw and it's titled "The Impact of Indian Diaspora in the US," and it's subtitled "From Leadership to Economic Growth." And I'm gonna ask us to take a quick look at the highlights of this document. To me, it's shocking, right? So the first one is that it says people of Indian origin, Indian origin CEOs leading Fortune 500 companies. There are 16 of them. 16 Fortune 500 companies are currently being led by CEOs of Indian origin. I would be interested to see how many of African origin. I have no idea. But this got me thinking. Okay, so as I drilled further, then let me just as we into this. So let this sink in. Okay, let this sink in. So 16 Fortune 500 companies are run by folks of Indian origin. This is the next one. It says Indian diaspora in unicorn leadership. Unicorns are typically companies that have raised funding or that companies whose valuation is over $1 billion. So there are a few companies in Africa that are unicorns like Flutterwave, Paystack, and a few others, but not many. Typically from the startup ecosystem, they start and then they evolve, they grow, and they turn out to become unicorns, right? So it says 72 out of 648 unicorn startups globally are run by Indian origin entrepreneurs. 72. Okay, that is 11%. That is significant. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And I'm shocked at these kind of statistics like you are. So the next one, it says 60% of all US hotels are owned by Indian origin entrepreneurs. 60%. 60. Can you imagine that? And this is even a kicker here. Generating $700 billion in revenue every year, creating 4 million jobs. Creating 4 million. Let us sink in. Let us sink in for a moment before I make my point. Okay, then let's look at its correlation with education. So the 78% of the Indian diaspora hold a bachelor's degree or higher. That is far exceeding the US national average of 36%. So basically, the number of Indian immigrants in the United States, and I'm thinking this statistic would be true for Europe also. Because when I used to live in Europe, there was a massive Indian population in all the schools, everywhere. Every organization that I worked for, there was a massive representation of Indians at both entry level, not so much about entry level, mid-tier level and upper levels in the organization. Okay. So 78% of Indian diaspora, they have at least a first degree or more or higher. This is significant. This is significant. And compare that to the natives. So the average for the natives is around 36%. That's average. Okay. All right. So my thinking is, wow, if Indians, because yes, I know, yes, our color, we are black, and we have accents and those kind of things. We deal with racism and all those kind of things. But I'm thinking, this is just discussion here. It's not any conclusion. It's not anything. And I've lived this life, So I've lived in the diaspora for a decade and a half at least. So I'm beginning to wrap my mind as to my mindset when I was working in corporate. I see that 78% is significant. I believe if African migrants face racism issue, I faced it, right? Everybody faces it. It to me is a common denominator. It's just how you react to it that matters. You will face it at some point. So let's get over that. Unless it's an abusive situation, then you have to maybe consult, your HR or leave the organization, find another organization or seek legal advice. Those are, I think, the three main things. Now, but let's come back here. Let's come back to this discussion that, hey, are you interested in connecting with expert professionals from the diaspora community? We've built something special, a platform called Find Diaspora Experts. This platform helps you connect with top-tier African diaspora experts to get advice over a video call. The use cases for such a platform are many, but let's just run through a few. The first one is this could be used as an expert resource for corporate training. It could also be used as a resource for keynote speaking engagements, also for executive coaching, for special consulting services, and then last but not the least, as a pool of expert talent for recruitment. So if you are interested in being the first to know when we onboard new experts or when we launch new expert-led cohort-based courses or training programs, then click the link in the description below to join our early access list. Thanks, and let's jump right back into the video. See you there. If we're facing racism, we're facing plateauing or glass ceiling, I believe Indians also, maybe earlier generations of Indians also face the same thing. But the thing is, my interest is I want to find out and you can put this in the discussion or the comment. You can comment if you have answers to some of these things. How did they do it? You know, and I will go to another slide. I will talk about the same similar metrics regards African immigrants, right? In terms of education. I have another slide there. But before I jump there, I just want to, I'm intrigued that I know Indians who don't have American accents or British accent or Irish accent or whatever accent. They came with their normal thick Indian accent, like a thick African accent, a thick Nigerian or Ghanaian accent. If that is not stopping them from achieving these results, then why are we having these things stop African migrants from hitting the mark, hitting the top of their career? Why? I don't know, have the answers. I'm just curious. I just want people to comment, people to share their experiences. Why are we not hitting there? I see the Indians are doing it. They are owning hotels. What stops us from owning hotel chains? I know my wife used to work in education, private schooling in Texas. Private schools in Texas are majority owned by Indians. Why can't we do that also? Why? Okay, so if it's education that they have that is helping them do that, let's look at how we also, our education metrics play. So it says highly educated African diaspora population, 41%. So I'm just going to bring my mouse on this. 41% of African immigrants ages 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, exceeding the US national average of 36%. See, the same thing. We are exceeding the national average. We may not be at 78% like the Indians are, but I think collectively, Africa collectively, in terms of numbers, our numbers collectively may be equal or very close to the number of Indian immigrants in America or Europe. But I see that I don't see many Africans at the top. And I would say possibly part of the reason why Indians do well is that the few who were able to punch through the glass ceiling and went there, and got to the top there, became an example for the younger ones to aspire to. Most of the time, if you haven't seen people of your kind achieve certain results, the mental ability to even make those kind of connection doesn't exist. You know, I remember, if this is when I started my career, I had good work experience working in finance and business analyst, data analyst in UK, and I had to make the transition to come to the States with my family. And when I go, a close family relative of ours is that, hey, Isaac, you are here. This is not like Ghana, your native. That person didn't even think that I had, at that point, I had like 4 years of experience working in corporate UK. That person didn't even think about that. The next thing that came out of their mouth was, utter garbage. But I didn't blame that person because that's what they knew. He said, hey, here, don't even think about looking for corporate job. Just look for maybe a construction work or security man or working at Walmart or Home Depot or care work. And there's nothing wrong with those kind of professions. Nothing wrong. We need all those people. I admire them. I have relatives who are in that industry today. We need them. But the point was, I was aspiring to at least do the same or better corporate work that I used to do in UK. But this person was throwing cold water on my enthusiasm, all because she had not seen anybody of my kind work in those areas before. So in my mind, and I would want to, feel out why. In my mind, I think it's not because of our color or racism or yes, those things play a part, but it's not because of that. I think it's purely because of our limiting beliefs. And just before we even jump onto limiting beliefs. Let me just finish analyzing this data here. So if we, as we want to peel a little bit of the onion. So basically, it says that 41% of African immigrants ages 25 and older have a bachelor's degree or more, which is a good starting point. We've come a long way, but this start is great. It means we are above the average US standard in terms of higher education. Now let's peel it further. So this means that when you put the US immigrants together, all US immigrants, they are 33% of them meet this mark. That's they have a college degree or higher, right? But for US black immigrants, that is not just Africa. Blacks are not just in Africa. So Africa, Asia, Caribbean, Mexico, South America, all of them is 31%. Okay, so if you mumble all together, it's 31%. Right. So as you can see it, if we're going to peel it back, so among black immigrants born in Africa, 41%, just like here, 41% of African immigrants ages 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree is here. But for other black immigrants who are not African, the numbers are lower. So those in South America who are black is 27%, Caribbean is 23%, Central America or Mexico is 15%, right? But look at African immigrants, 41%. Now, let's even peel it further by country. So as you look at it, African immigrants by country, look at Nigeria. So for Nigeria, the number is 64%. So 64% of all Nigerian immigrants aged 25 years and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher. 64%. That is huge. Then next, followed by Cameroon, 53%. So basically, you see any Cameroonian who is older than 25 years on the streets of America, if you see 10 of them, at least 5 of them have a bachelor's degree or more. And then the next one is Kenya, 47%, and Ghana, 41%. So just take a look at this. So in terms of ability to do big things, if education is the yardstick, I don't think we are far off. I don't think African immigrants are far off at all. If education was the measuring stick, I think we're on the right track. But I'm here thinking the only reason why we are not achieving these kinds of results, right? These kinds of results, it's because of our limiting beliefs, mental limiting beliefs. The fact that we haven't seen examples. There may be others. There may be. So when you pick any other big global tech companies, Indians are running the show. So you pick Alphabet, Google, it's being run by an Indian. You pick Microsoft, being run by an Indian. You pick one of my favorite softwares, HubSpot, right? That's the biggest CRM company, I think. HubSpot is being run by an Indian. So many sectors run by. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just want to see the day that we could start seeing African immigrants running these kind of things within the diaspora community. Yes, we want Africans to come back home or bring their knowledge back home to help build Africa. Yes, we want that. But we're just being real. Not everyone will come back home. Okay? It's not everyone who is even supposed to come back to Africa. Not everyone. But the thing is, we want to see flagship role models so that our kids, our children's children can begin to see that, wow, this is possible. And the thing is, yes, you work in corporate, right? You're probably making $100,000, $250,000, $300,000 a year. It's good money when you come from Africa, or you're working in a bank. You work like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all these big organizations, Google, Facebook, X, Tesla. You're doing all these kind of big things there. And you send money. You're probably into real estate, you are building houses, or you are doing projects back in Africa, yes, you are doing well. But can I compare you to the CEO of Microsoft? I think his name is Satya Nadella, right? Can I compare you to the amount? So you bring, let's say $100,000 a year to come and build your project or do whatever it takes that you are doing back in Africa. It's good because we need that remittances, remittance inflows into Africa to prop our economies, because the economies are weaker. But can you imagine, individual to individual, if I put you side by side to the CEO of Alphabet or Google, right? Do you know how much? Can you imagine the percentage of his income that he could push into India just overnight? Whilst you are doing probably $100,000, $200,000 a year building your project, it's great. It's providing job in the village or in the local economy. But somebody like the CEO of Alphabet or Microsoft, he can actually send $50 million today or $50 million every 6 months into his economy, all because he's risen so high in the diaspora community or within the Western world that he's working. He's been able to push up, right? Somebody like Damesh from HubSpot. That guy is he's so talented. He's so loaded financially that if he wants to be remitting money, I don't think he'll be remitting $10,000 and $5,000, although that's money, but he'll be doing it in millions. So in terms of even the volume, the quantum of remittances that will be hitting Africa, if we push to the higher echelons of our career in business, running organizations, running Fortune 500 companies and stuff, running unicorns in the Western world, I think we can be able to make richer and deeper contributions back into Africa. Because, as I said, it's not everyone who will be able to return back and come to stay in Africa. That is an unrealistic goal. It can't happen. But we need to encourage ourselves. We need to start seeing light. I've seen there's one company, I think it's Calendly. Calendly is the industry leader in the appointment bookings sector. And because I'm in tech, I know these things. I think Calendly is owned by a Nigerian, or was founded. I wouldn't say owned. It was founded by a Nigerian diaspora. And Calendly is a unicorn. It's way, I don't know its current valuation, but I know definitely it probably will be more than $5 billion in valuation. But these are just few and far between examples, and they are not even visible for the younger generation to see them. So my call to action, I just want to have a feel of people's comments and sentiments as to how we can begin to punch our way through some of these, I would say, some of these thresholds or milestones or achievement. Because if it came to just education alone, I think we are not very far off. But I believe it's just mindset and limiting beliefs that has held us back. So if you know of people who've been able to push through, just put information about them in the comment section. I would be really, really interested to know, to probably at some point even follow up with them, conduct an interview to unpack some of their mindset to help other people. All right, have a great time. Subscribe to the channel, because we're just churning out value upon value upon value. Thank you. Peace.